everyone. I'm so glad to be here with all of you today. And I don't like those, but they are necessary, of course. And I'm very glad to can talk with you about this important issue after the important things we heard from Noemi and Andrea. So my discussion will be on the line between those two things that we hear. Of course, we can put ourselves in the shoes of a child who suffered trauma and imagine, for example, to wake up every morning in fear. For some, it's sound of yelling at home, the threat of violence, maybe some disaster that altered their lives in some kind of sense, war. And this is the reality for many children worldwide who experience developmental trauma. Research shows that these adverse experiences don't just leave scars on the heart. They disrupt the brain development, impair emotional regulation, which is kind of focus of my team today, and leave lasting impacts on the ability to connect with others. So today I want to talk about how we as professionals committed to children's rights can change this narrative by creating trauma-conscious system in childcare and education. As Noemi said, we can provide environments that foster healing, resilience, and hope. So first of all, let me just say that developmental trauma refers to prolonged exposure to life-threatening events during critical stages of child's growth that we hear minutes ago. These events, ranging from abuse, neglect, poverty, war, disasters, disrupt the child's emotional and behavioral development and alter survival circuits in the brain. And in this way, they can impair ability to regulate emotions, form attachments, and thrive in learning environments. Considering trauma-conscious institutions, we can think about trauma system. This is what I want to share with you. We have to enlarge a picture a little bit, look at it from the systemic perspective. So when we talk about trauma, it's not only the child that is traumatized and we have to fix it somehow. We first have to enlarge a little bit this picture and take into account the first person the child is surrounded with, caregivers. And then if we are brave a little bit more, we think about all of us, or all of us that work as a professional, as a system that can be supportive in this situation. So when we think about trauma system, we think about child that is traumatized and its surrounding, social surrounding that needs to respond to this child. So this is not only the problem of the child. I enjoyed yesterday the piano, the music that we hear, and especially that mentor and the student play together. Okay, so this is maybe the metaphor that I would like you to take with you from this point of view. So this is the question about a child that plays one melody and the mentor that plays the other melody, and they are synchronized and they do together beautiful music. So this is kind of how to engage in relationship with the child that have suffered from trauma. Normal development would be that we play excellent together, or pretty excellent with a few alterations. No, when then comes trauma, this process can be altered. Okay, so we don't know maybe how to respond, how to react, and that is why we have to be. That is okay, the focus of everything, like Noemi said. Now other things will just be a little bit proceeding, enlarging the picture. Okay. Okay. I want to be in time. So here's the silver lining. Relationship matters. This is the silver lining. A caring adult, teacher, caregiver, mentor, as we say yesterday, has the power to reshape a child's survival circuits, helping them regain control over their emotions and build a sense of self-worth. So the important things that Andrea talked about, attachment. So this is the last slide we saw. This is the thing with attachment. The new relationship can be restorative. So we can help children build again the sense of self-worth. To address developmental trauma, we must look at the child's environment holistically. So here we come, we talk about, no, I don't know. Sorry. Okay, we're still here. The Bronfenbrenner socio-ecological model highlights the importance of addressing multiple levels of such influences, which help us to understand that we are part of the system. So we have to take into account individual, interpersonal, community, and policy, which we are interested in, especially in this conference, to foster resilience and reduce negative impacts of trauma. The individual level, where a child's biological and psychological resources shape their ability to adapt. Microsystem, including family and close relationship, which play a critical role in emotional support. Immediate influences, like family dynamics, parenting styles, and caregivers' responses to trauma significantly affect the child's emotional and behavioral adjustment. But also the exosystems, such as schools and community networks, which provide opportunities for growth and recovery. Supportive environments foster resilience, while unsafe and under-resort settings hinder recovery. And there is also a macro system where cultural beliefs and societal values influence family and community responses to trauma, shaping perceptions of appropriate care and recovery strategies. So how we see, is it valuable for us? Is it an important thing? Trauma impacts not only children, but also their families and broader societal ecology, reducing the ability of these systems to provide adequate support. Effective intervention requires comprehensive strategies that extend beyond individual level care. So a trauma-informed approach within childcare and education systems must consider the child development stage and specific trauma-related challenges, foster stable and supportive relationship to address emotional and behavioral dysregulation, and engage all levels of the child and social ecology, from caregivers to cultural institutions, to create environments conducive of healing. Incorporate systemic changes at the exosystem and macrosystem levels, such as improved educational resources, community safety, and culturally informed trauma responses. So by addressing these factors, trauma-informed system can help children recover from trauma and rebuild capacity for their social, cognitive, and emotional growth. Child care institutions are often the first responders in the lives of traumatized children. Here's what they can do. Maximize safety and stability. Children need to feel secure to begin the healing process. So this is one thing that we have to have on every institutional level. This means to be conscious of the surroundings of the children. Addressing trauma developmental impacts. This means understanding how trauma shapes behavior and relationship. Noemi talked about this. So take knowledge, understand what happens, then build positive relationship.
Stable connections with caregivers are also cornerstone or recovery. So not only the system, the child care institution, but we try to engage in relationship with caregivers. And also, child welfare agencies must work together with schools, healthcare providers, and families to create a comprehensive support system so that we don't do different things in different institutions, but to have in mind concrete child which is in front of us, and that maybe is also in school, also by the doctors, psychologists, and so to be harmonic in this approaching trauma. In education systems, maybe it's important to help teachers to identify trauma responses, for example, like hypervigilance or emotional withdrawal, and respond with empathy. So try to make them more conscious of understand some behaviors as maybe responses adaptive in certain circumstances. Also, there are classroom adaptations like individualist education plans that address trauma-specific needs for a specific child, behavioral supports or counseling services, and so on. And also be conscious that we have to replace punitive measures sometimes with restorative practices to build accountability and emotional regulation. When we transform schools into safe and nurturing spaces, we give children the tools to succeed academically and emotionally. And this is valid for all the children, not only for the traumatized ones. So this is not something we have to look at like it serves to everyone. No single system, however, can address trauma alone. Childcare, education, healthcare, and legal system must work together. Collaboration ensures that each child receives culturally sensitive, evidence-based support tailored to their unique needs. So they can focus on this. It's not very intuitive. Sorry. Maybe I can just pass here. The journey toward trauma-conscious systems is not without hurdles. So it's nice to talk about it, but it's sometimes difficult in practice. It requires training, funding, and time, and sometimes there are significant barriers. Effective implementation requires substantial time, and some organizations may struggle with this facts. Trauma-informed practices also must adopt to diverse cultural and organizational contexts, which means that they are not universally applicable. Their success depends on flexibility and adaptability, which can be difficult to achieve consistently. Addressing trauma is a long-term process with no quick fixes. So it requires sustained commitment and patience to support survivors on their journey to recovery. Without proper training, there is a risk of misuse, for example, making assumptions about individuals based on their trauma history, and that potentially can cause harm. Shifting established norms can also be difficult, but it's necessary. So organizations and individuals may resist adopting trauma-informed practices, perceiving them as challenge to establishing norms or methods. And overcoming this resistance can be a significant barrier. Although widely regarded as beneficial, the evidence based for trauma-informed practices is still evolving, requiring further research to establish clear guidelines and best practices. But nonetheless, the opportunities are immense,
And these are the opportunities which we can achieve by implementing such consciousness into institutions. So improve mental health, build resilience of children, avoid re-traumatization that we heard of, empower children to make decisions about their own recovery, and that restores to them a sense of control over their lives, so empowerment. Trauma-informed practices support the development of relationship based on mutual respect and understanding, facilitating healing process. And of course, organizations that implementing these practices often experience improved staff morale, reduced stress, and higher employee retention rates. So to conclude, by prioritizing safe relationship, systemic collaboration, and individual care, we can create environments where healing and growth are possible. So we can now imagine a world where every child feels seen, heard, and valued, a world where trauma does not define their futures, but fuels their resilience. This is the world where we can build starting today, and I urge you to take what we've discussed today and apply it in your spheres of influence. Advocating for trauma-conscious policies, invest in training, and most importantly, never underestimate the power of safe and caring relationship in a child's life. We can make a difference together. Thank you.